Hi, and welcome back to Craft Along with Jay. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Yara, and I am so happy you could join me today. Today I'm collaborating with my friend Clary over at Clary's Creations Part 2, and she's doing a series of crafting our way to Christmas. And this week I get to collaborate with her. The theme that I chose for my video is vintage Christmas decor. So I really hope you like this video, and don't forget to go check out Clary when you're done. She's super talented. And yeah, go check her out. You're sure to get inspired. For project number one, I got this sleigh at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take all that paper off, and then I'm going to paint um, with the rich espresso, yeah, on those parts, and then the antique green on the seat and the little sign on the top. And once I've done that, I'm going to go in and distress it really well. And I'm just using a little zip sander here. And I keep going until I have it distressed enough the way I like it and the way I make it feel like old and aged and vintagey. So I just work along with it until I'm happy and making sure you get a little extra around the edges so it looks like nice and worn. So I was working on this for a little while to get it just the look that I wanted. It looks nice and scuffed up here. Then I got this IOD rub-on transfer, and I think that would be perfect to put in the middle of the seat. It looks so nice and vintagey and old and just cozy woodland theme. So I thought that would be perfect. So I'm going to peel the backing off and kind of lay it down where I want it. I'm trying here to get it in the middle without measuring, and I think I was pretty successful. And then once I get it down, I press it down. I go in with my little tool here, my Cricut tool, and I'm just going to start wrapping it in. And then I'll carefully remove the paper to make sure it's um, transferred. And if it's not completely transferred, I go back in and do some more rubbing here until it's down. So you'll kind of see me kind of gently pull back, and then I may lay it down and do some more rubbing. So you just got to be patient and kind of work with the design, but it's absolutely gorgeous when it comes off. Then once I got it all off, I just varnish it like that, make sure it's in there. That's what it looks like. I'm loving it. And then I decided to go in with the Rich Espresso again, metallic paint. And I'm going to go around the edge of the design just to give it a little bit of a border kind of thing. And it kind of goes well with the coloring of the Ritz Espresso, goes well with the design of the Christmas tree in the middle and the birds. So I'm just going to go all the way around. I'm not trying to be straight or even. I'm just giving it a border. And yeah, it looks nice and worn. Looks like an old piece of vintage decor piece. Then I decided to add some holly berries at the top part. And those are also from the IOD collection. And it's one straight line, but I cut it into three so that way I could curve it a little bit to go with the shape of that part of the sleigh. And it's the same thing. I lay it down and then I'm rubbing and pulling it back slowly and doing some more rubbing if I need to. And then they transfer beautifully and they're absolutely gorgeous. And then I'm gonna go in with I went in with clear wax um, just to kind of seal it in. I probably should have done Mod Podge, but I used clear wax. I'm not sure why, but that's what I used. And then I got this greenery pick from Walmart, and I love this pick. They have some really nice picks this year. And I'm just taking three pieces off of it and playing around with the arrangements. And then when I kind of happy with how it is, I kind of start hot gluing them down, just one piece at a time, and then lay it back the way I had it. Yeah, use your finger protector because you will feel that hot glue. if you don't. So I used three pieces right here to do the top. And then I decided I needed a little red velvet bow just to top it off to give it a nice vintage look. Kind of brings back memories from my childhood. There was a lot of like velvet ribbon back then. There we go. And I'm just going to hot glue that up there to the top. And then I'm going to cut the tails at an angle. Shorten them up a little bit and then I cut them at an angle. And I kind of like that nice pop of red to add to the sleigh. But I love how this one turned out. And you can see I just added the jute twine again as a hanger. And this is the finished look. I love it. Let me know what you think about this one. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Love the design. All right, so let's move on to project number 2. I got these wood round ornaments from Hobby Lobby on sale 50% off. And we're going to add some music sheets to it. First, we're going to cut off the ribbon. We're not going to use those. But I do cut them right where the nut is because I will save those pieces for a different project. And to make sure before you start tracing, you have the music sheet the right side up so it's not upside down when you glue it onto your ornament. So I had to go back and look to make sure. And I just trace them down and then I'll cut them out for each piece. And I like this music sheet because it's already distressed. It already looks, vintagey. So that was like perfect. And that was from Hobby Lobby as well. So I got them cut out and then I'm figuring out because you can see the cap of the ornament is kind of wavy. So I was trying to figure out how to get that cut. So first I'm going to go ahead and start gluing it down. And for this, I just love using the Elmo stick glue. I think it works really well. And then I could lay it down and then with my finger, I'm just tracing where the curves are of that cap. And then I went in with my X-Acto knife and just cut it along those edges. And then I'll add some glue to the top and then it fits in there perfectly. See, you can't even tell. So that's how I do the same thing to the other two ornaments as well. And then I'm just going around with my little zip sander, just getting the excess paper off. There was a little bit of an overhang, which is better than not having enough paper, so it's easy to fix. So we just sanded that off. And then I picked these three vintage-looking drop-on transfers, and we're just going to rub those on straight on top of the music sheet. So we've got a little bell and an angel and a Santa. And just rubbing them down and slowly pulling it back. Rubbing down if you need to, and then pull back. We do the same thing for all three of them. And then just varnish it down. So this is how it looks like with the bell. I love it. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the angel. Just the same process. You lay it down where you want it, and then you start rubbing and then slowly pulling back the top layer of the paper. And if it's not all the way transferred, you just lay it back down and do some more rubbing. But you just gently pull it back. And these transferred really well onto the paper. And so there's the angel. And then we'll work on Santa. And it's the same process as the other two. And I do use my little Cricut tool here to help kind of lift the paper at the edge. Try not to rip the paper, which I didn't. These transferred really well and it wasn't sticky that it was pulling up any paper. So that worked out really well. And there's Santa. And then I'm going to go in with, I think I use clear wax here too. Probably because I was going to distress it later. Okay, so I used the clear wax to kind of seal it in, but also because I'm not showing it here because I forgot, but you will see it when it at the final look that I distressed the edges with the Rich Espresso metallic paint and a little bit on the front part. And then, because when you have the wax on, you can kind of wipe it back a little bit so you get the look that you want. But here I'm also doing the cap with the Rich Espresso. For me, Rich Espresso metallic paint kind of gives me that vintagey old look, even a rustic look. So that's what I went with. And that's also the one I'm going to end up using as my distressing around the edges and then a little bit in the middle. Whatever's left over from doing the edges, I kind of just go over the middle of the ornament too. And it actually looks really nice. But you'll see that in the final look that I kind of went back in there. And then after I'm done with this, we're going to go in and embellish it a little bit with some greenery, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what I'm working on here. So I want to take a moment while you watch me do this to thank all my subscribers for your continued support, coming back to keep watching my videos. I appreciate you all so much. And if you're new or if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing if you like what you see. It would really help me out. I'm on this quest to see if I can reach 1,500 subscribers by Christmas. So any support helps, and I would be very appreciative of it. So if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and join me on my YouTube journey. All right, as you can see, I cut my greenery down. One peg, I cut it down in half because they were a little bit too long. I wanted them a little bit shorter. And I'm just going to add them right up here at the top where the cap meets the ornament. Just a little dab of hot glue and just hold it down for a second to make sure it sets. And then I'm going in with some holly berries. I'm adding 3 to each. And I'm just picking it off this little peg that I have laying there on the side and just hot gluing them down. These are little foam berries, and you can tell the foam, but the look of it, and when you pull them apart, some of the paint comes off. So once I get them all glued down, I'm going to go in with some paint and spruce them off so it looks more like berries and a little less like foam balls. You'll see that here in a second. So what I do to one, I'll do to the other two as well. Then here I'm going in with a cardinal red, and we're gonna make our little bears look more like berries. And I'm just doing a little bit of glue and just going around all of them. And it really does make a difference in how they look. And then all we're going to do after this, I'm not sure if I'm showing it or not, but we'll just add some jute twine as a hanger. I think jute twine kind of makes it look kind of old and rustic, vintagey, all of that good stuff. And I love that look. Yep, that's what we're doing right here. And I'm just tying it a knot at the top. Then I'll pull the knot down to the back part where the hole is, and I'm just going to give it a little dot of hot glue, and it will hold the knot in place at the bottom so you won't see it. So that's what that looks like. And I'll do the same thing to the other two as well. And that's what they look like. I think they're absolutely adorable. Let me know what you think. Project number 3. So I am going to use these big popsicle sticks that I got from, I'm thinking Walmart. I'm not sure. I didn't have any paint stir sticks, but you can use that to the 1 gallon size. I didn't have any, so I am going to use these popsicle sticks, and it works just fine. They're a little bit thinner, so you have to be a little bit more careful when you glue them together. But I'm going to use some wood glue right here, and I'm just going to put 4 of them together. So 2 sets of 4. I'm gluing them together the long way. And then once I glue them, because they're so thin, I'm going to go ahead and tape them up to help hold them in place while the glue sets. And I leave it like this for several hours before I start working on them again just to make sure um, they're not going to come apart. I mean, you still got to be careful because they're thin, but you know what I mean? You got to let it dry some so at least it sticks. But we're going to put some more stuff on to add a little bit extra security to it. So here I'm just taking the tape back off. I tried to. There we go. And then I'm going to cut, you know, the little bars to go across, the little board pieces. So I'm going to have them go straight, not the rounded edges going across. So I'm going to make some lines where I need to cut it so it's straight. And I'm going to use my mighty shears just to cut that, even though there's a little bit of a struggle. But you could do it. You just got to go back and forth a couple of times, turn it and push and turn it and push. And you're going to need 4 pieces of these because you need 2 for each set, like so. And then you just got to use some wood glue and glue those down as well and let that sit for a while and dry before you go in and paint. Yeah, you can see my struggle. It was real. And I'm just sanding the edges too, so there's no sharp edges going around. And here they're glued down, and I'm going to use my antique wax. And while that's drying, I got these really pretty frames, resin frames from um, Hobby Lobby at 40% off. They have like great details on them. So I'm going to go in with my antique green and give them both 2 coats. And you can see I'm stippling it here because I'm trying to get down into the little nooks and crannies in there. There's some small tight spaces, but I wanted the whole thing covered with the antique green. And while that's drying, I have traced out the middle of the frames onto our plaques right here. And I'm going to go in with some antique white and paint that middle part in that I have traced. You can kind of faintly see the outlines. I'm not worried about a perfect coat because I want it to have an antique look and I want it, you know, vintagey. So I'm just painting and I'm okay with streaks and imperfections. It's okay. I just want it to have a white background for what we need to do next here. So that's what I'm doing right here. And then I got some more rub-on transfers and we're going to use the candles and um, that scene from the ornament. And here I got them all. I cut them in as close as I could to the design. We're going to cut the cap off of that ornament because we're not going to use that part of it. And then I'm just carefully laying it down. And this required a lot of rubbing. The struggle was real at this one. So, but it's the same process. You rub, you pull the paper back, you rub some more. And for these specific rub-on transfers, that was a lot of rubbing. But they eventually transferred and they're absolutely beautiful when they get down. This paper was also a little bit more sticky. So, but luckily it didn't pull up any paint. So it all worked out. Just time and patience. That's really the key here. So even though it's a small design, it took quite some time, but it got there. I'm just going to show you this one. I'm not showing you the other one because the struggle was real on that one too. So, but yeah, the end result is worth it. It's absolutely gorgeous. That's what it looks like. And then I'm going to go with some Mod Podge to seal it in. Just on the design. I didn't do it on the whole project, just over the design. And then I'm going to go in and use some Rub and Buff to highlight the gorgeous details of these frames. They've had 2 coats, they're completely dry, and I want to make sure I don't have too much Rub and Buff on my finger. I want to go light at first, then I can always add on when I kind of get a feel for how I want it to look and how the design kind of pops out. But I love how this turned out. I love working with this Rub and Buff to pull out, highlight the designs, and it really makes a difference in the whole thing for sure. So I'm just putting very little on my finger and I may dab some of it off on the napkin. And then I just keep working it. And I do a little bit around the edges as well. I'm going to show you. Look at the details. Isn't that gorgeous? And then I'm just going to use some Aleene's tacky glue on the back of my frames. And I'm going to put that right over our rub-on transfers. And then we're going to embellish it some more. Got some more of this greenery pick from Walmart. And here I'm just going to play around with how I want it to look. Like spruce it up and make it all Christmassy. And then I just made some shoelace bows here with the red velvet ribbon that we used earlier too. And I put that at the bottom. And I love how this looks. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Then once I got the ribbons down, we're gonna work on the greenery. Still trying to figure out how I want it. And of course I changed it to the other side. It may just have laid better on that side, I don't know. And then we get the other one. Finger protectors is a must, because that hot glue is hot. And then I'm going in with some more berries here. Just figuring out which way I want it to face and look. And when I'm happy, I'll glue it down. And then as we did before, I'll go in with the red cardinal and paint them up so they look more like berries and a little less like foam balls. It really makes a difference. Yep, there's the red cardinal red. And then we'll spruce those up as well. And then I'm just using some jute twine to make a hanger to hang on the back of them. And that's what they look like. I love them. I think they're gorgeous. You can let me know what you think about this set as well. I think they turned out super cute. All right, well, let's take one final look at everything that we made today. So I love this sleigh. I love those rub-on transfers. I think it turned out absolutely amazing. And don't forget, when you're done with this video, go over and check out Clary's video. I know she's got something pretty cool up her sleeve. She always does. She's super talented. So make sure you head on over there. Tell her I said hi and give her some love. Subscribe, like, and comment. So, well, let's see. Like, take a look at our ornaments. You can see I did some distressing on them around the edges and in the middle. And it kind of adds to the charm of a vintage look that I absolutely love. And there they are. Gorgeous. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video with me, I appreciate you so much. It means the world to me. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join me on this YouTube journey. And like and comment and hype my video to put me further out there. I appreciate you all for being here with me today. And I'll see you again soon. Until next time.